Okay, looking good. So everybody, welcome again to this final Canada Specialist Program webinar of 2021. Nicole from Ottawa Tourism, please take it away.
Thank you very much. So hopefully you all know that Ottawa is Canada's capital city. This is the location map where we're located. You'll see we're between Montreal and Toronto, a bit closer to Montreal, which is in the province of Quebec. And the US is about an hour south of us. On the map on the right is our downtown core. What I hear most from people when they're here in Ottawa on a fam trip, for example, is that you get all the benefits of a city, because obviously we're a city, we're the capital, but because it's such a green, natural downtown core, you kind of forget that you're in a city. You'll see in some of the pictures coming up. So this is, and it's also a very compact, walkable city. I can personally walk from one end of that map, going from west to east, in about 30 minutes. I do walk a bit fast, but just to give you an idea, the blue line going sort of on the top of the map from about west to east is a river. It's called the Ottawa River, and it separates, Ottawa is in the province of Ontario, and on the other side of that river is the province of Quebec. And then the blue line that's going north to south down the middle of the map, that is the Rideau Canal, which you'll see in future slides as well. And in that downtown map, again, you'll see all those sort of like red highlighted blocks are some of the highlights of the things you can walk to. So we have the Canadian War Museum, the Canadian Museum of History, the National Gallery, the Canadian Museum of Nature, our National Arts Centre, our Byward Market area, which you'll see later, and our Parliament buildings. So those are all very walkable by foot, which is great if your clients happen to be staying downtown. They don't need a car while they're downtown to see a lot of things by foot. And we do have sort of hop on, hop off vehicles as well, if they're not able to walk around. Some of the main highlights of our downtown, again, because we are the capital city, we are the home of our parliament, our government. At the right, you see our parliament buildings. Now the building you see here with the tower and the clock on it, it actually is one of 3 of our parliament buildings. That one is actually under construction at the moment. They're renovating all the interior, plumbing and electrical and stuff like that. It's going to be another 8 years. So that building in particular won't be unfortunately visitable for the next 8 years at least, but our House of Commons and our Senate moved to temporary locations, and pre-COVID people were touring those temporary locations, which are still quite beautiful as well. And on the bottom left corner of the Rideau Hall, that's the home of our Queen representative, our Governor General, and people, again, it was another place to tour. The building in the middle, that's in the Byward Market area. It's one of the oldest farmers markets in Canada, and it has farmers stalls, it has cafes, restaurants. There is a big shopping mall downtown nearby, but in the Byward Market area, you see more of the boutique kind of stores, which people like. And there's also the bars, nightlife as well. At the top photo, that is our Rideau Canal. You'll see in future pictures that it is also when it's not winter, it's navigable. You'll see boats, and there's also pathways on either side where people are walking and biking. So it is quite beautiful in the spring, summer, fall. And in the winter, which is coming up now, we just had our first snowfall a few days ago. It freezes over and it becomes the world's largest skating rink. And it's the Rideau Canal itself is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. We are lucky. Canada has 9 national museums, the museums that really talk about the whole country. Now, 7 of the 9 are in our area, so we're quite lucky for people that like to visit the museums and learn about our country that way. One of the most visited museums in the country, one of the 7, is the Canadian Museum of History, which again is in our region. It's more about the history of Canada's people, including Indigenous peoples. One of its sister museums is the Canadian War Museum, which you see in the top bottom left. A museum that's a little different and is only really if you're in town more than one day and you happen to have a vehicle, the Diefenbunker Museum that you see in the middle, it's not downtown, so you would need to drive there, but it's from the Cold War era. It's basically was built, it's an underground bunker that if the Cold War would have happened, if heaven forbid there would have been a nuclear bomb, it's where our Prime Minister and all of their staff would have been brought to. It's now obviously not that anymore. It's now a museum, and it's quite unique. It's a great experience if you have time. The Bytown Museum that you see on the bottom right, most of these other museums are about the country. This one is actually about our city. Before we were became the capital, before then we were actually known as Bytown, and then when we were chosen to be the capital, they changed our name to Ottawa. So this is more about the city. Bytown was because Colonel John By is the person who was in charge of making the Rideau Canal, and so both our Byward Market and this museum, Bytown Museum, and our town was named after him. And the Royal Canadian Mint is where they make special collector coins. For anyone that's into art, another of the 7 national museums is the National Gallery of Canada, one of the largest collection of Canadian artwork. But if you like, there's also the Ottawa Art Gallery, which is actually free, and it's more focused on Ottawa artists or art that is made about Ottawa. Some more of the 7 museums. There's the Canada Aviation and Space Museum, Canada Science and Technology Museum, the Canada Agriculture and Food Museum, and the Canadian Museum of Nature, which is more the animals, flora and fauna. Those last 3 are very popular with families, with young kids. Now, you can easily spend a day in each of those museums, and I love museums. But if you're like my brother, not a huge fan of museums, there's lots of other things to do in the Ottawa area, big adventure things. There's bungee jumping, it's very popular. I'll never do it, but it is quite popular. Now, Camp Fortune that you see on the top right, it's a ski hill, but in this summer, in the summer times, they also have an aerial experience. And this past summer, they introduced this new product. You take one of the ski chairs up to the top, and you come down on this special track that goes down the mountain. For about 5 summers now, we also have even whitewater rafting in the city. As you see in that bottom left corner, the Parliament buildings is right in front of them as they're almost ending their trip. So it really is in the city. Now it is a level 3 rapids, not level 5 like it is about an hour west of the city. So you stay in the boat unless you choose to jump out, which is nice. But it's also nice that you can do it in about 3 or 4 hours. So you can see a museum in the morning, go back to the hotel, have lunch and change in the bathing suits, and then go whitewater rafting in the afternoon. It is very unique that city would have that kind of thing. Also kind of new this summer was a new interprovincial zip line. The first zip line that goes from one province to the other across that river that I showed you. And so this is Interzip Rogers, new product. Sorry for the delay here, just 1 second. We also have like cave hiking. We also have spas, and that's the other rafting picture is more the one that's a level 5 big rafting, about an hour west of the city. Omega Park is about a 45-minute drive east of Ottawa, and it's more where you can drive through and see the animals of Canada. So you're seeing moose and bear and bison. It's quite, it's an amazing experience if you can do that on the way. It's a great product to stop on the way to Montreal. It's a great in-between place. There's a Pirate Life, great for families. Le Boat, it's a company that started in Europe, and the canals of France, let's say, where you drive your own houseboat, and then they realized, hey, there's a canal in Canada. So a few summers now, they've actually maybe about 5 summers now that they've brought this Le Boat product to Ottawa, and it's very popular. We have great ways of exploring the city as well. This picture you see on the top, the left-hand side, it's like an old World War II era biplane. It takes 2 people at a time. You get these leather hats and goggles to wear as you tour the city by air. And then we also have biking and boat tours as well. For biking, there's rent-a-bike or escape bicycle tours. We have walking tours, more historic ones, and then there's even haunted walking tours which combine the history as well as great spooky stories as well. There's cruises on the Rideau Canal, on the river. That one on the top right is actually one of those ones where when it's on the land, it's a bus, but then it can also go into the river and tour in the river as well. There's also, if you're just wanting to get from one side of the river to the other, let's say from Parliament buildings to the Museum of History across the river, there's this little Aqua Taxi as well. Not too far from Ottawa is the Thousand Islands, just about an hour south of the city, and there's cruising there as well as the helicopter rides. And there's also helicopter tours of the city. Where we also have, for the more culinary side of things, there's a company called Brew Donkey who does tours of the breweries of Ottawa. Ottawa is quite known for how many breweries we have. They also include some of the distilleries and wineries as well. There's a company, Thirsty Peddler, where you and your friends can go in this vehicle and go sort of bar hopping and in different neighborhoods in Ottawa. and C'est Bon Cookie in the bottom left. It's they both offer cooking classes as well as food tours. So the gentleman on the right, he does more of the cooking class part, and Stephanie on the left does more the food tour part. And it's quite very popular. You can do food tours in the Byward Market. If you're looking for more, to learn more about the Indigenous population, we have a company called Indigenous Experiences. They actually have their location right on the same property as the Canadian Museum of History, and you can buy the tickets through there. And most of the museums that I was mentioning have exhibitions on our Indigenous culture as well. If you're looking for nightlife, there is O Canada A. It's like a dinner theater where they do performances and singing, and they're all the songs are Canadian songs, either written by or performed by Canadian singers. We also have a casino. There's the National Arts Center where you can see ballet, orchestra performances, and there's the escape rooms that you probably have in your countries as well. And just to let you know that we are a 4-season destination. We're coming into our winter with the Rideau Canal again here, but you know, we're a beautiful city in the spring with all the tulips, in the fall with all the leaves. It's another great time of year. And if once this horrible pandemic is over, we're hoping that we can get back in the summer to our really popular, we're known for these great music festivals as well, which is what you're seeing in that top picture. So this is our contact information. We have the travel trade email address and our website. We do have a newsletter if you're interested as well. And I do hope that you and your clients can come to Ottawa very soon. Thank you very much.